Hello everybody, welcome to this new video. During the past week we've been working a little bit every day in our main garden and we wanted to share with you our very lazy method of gardening. We've been trying to grow our vegetables for almost 5 years now, and during this time we've had plenty of failures. The main problem was that we were always building things like our log house, for example, and we weren't very good at maintaining the crops. The other problem was that we started to garden on raw land, and since I hate tillers and the damage they do to delicate soil microbiomes, we were left with a lot of weeds to deal with. But one day I came across deep mulching, and for some reason, it sparked something inside my brain. Maybe you don't know this about me, but I'm kind of a nerd. I love searching and finding new ways of doing things. Adding mulch made a lot of sense to me since we were looking for a way to suppress the growth of the wild plants and also enriching the soil, which was quite poor to begin with. We've been using all types of mulch by this point, from pine needles to wood chips to straw and even sheep's wool, as you may have noticed in previous videos. I think they are all good and using a variety of them is quite nice when you have access to it. But my personal favorite is partially rotten hay. It makes a very good mulch that isn't as fluffy as straw and is very efficient at keeping weeds at bay, while also being super easy to handle. So what we've been doing is covering the ground every fall and spring with at least 2 feet of hay or straw, if that's what we have on hand, and when the time comes to sow our seeds, we clear a small patch and make sure there is no remaining weeds or root system. This year we expanded the garden of about 12 feet around the perimeter, and this simple method allowed us to plant squashes directly in the new spaces without much work. That's pretty much as lazy as gardening can be. And now we just have to maintain the little open spaces instead of the whole garden. Do we still have to spend time weeding? Yes, but believe me, it's a fraction of the time it used to be. I also mentioned in another video that we tend to bury our food scraps directly in the ground, and it has a very cool benefit. It sometimes makes free vegetables. Potatoes are one we don't need to plant anymore. They just magically appears everywhere and I'm happy to let them grow.
Tu as attaqué la caméra. Non, non, non. C'est un beau garçon.
Régleteur de noyer. Si une patate pousse, on l'enlève jamais. Tipeee, qu'est-ce que tu fais là? Va-t'en de là. Psh! Va-t'en de là, Tipeee. C'est non. Non. Ah, il a tout creusé. On peut pas te chicaner, t'es trop cute. Tipeee, qu'est-ce que t'as creusé là? Qu'est-ce que t'as fait?
Bon chien, tu restes là.
One of the major drawbacks of keeping the ground covered is that slugs really likes to hide under there. We always had a lot of slugs here, but this year we made two key decisions that might have completely resolved this issue. The first one was that we let the chickens run freely in the early spring. To our greatest surprise, our 3 hens devoured tons of slug eggs and brought the population in the garden down by something like 90%, which is crazy. The second one was adding some iron phosphate to our garden, which is non-toxic and very effective.
As-tu planté des patates, Anouk?
Oui. While planting cabbages, we found some germinated potatoes and sunchokes that I happily relocated. Did I mention I love finding free food? As we go rinse our dirty feet in the river, I wanted to mention how I often see people using soap in natural waters, which is very bad for this delicate ecosystem. Even biodegradable and natural hygiene products are just as bad in this case. A common symptom of this problem is an algae overgrowth and a decrease in both fish and water insects. We've been experiencing this because we live further down the river from a popular swimming hole of our village. So please be aware, and if you want to lather up, do it on the shores, far from the water, and bring a bucket. C'est bon. Now that we've been enjoying a meal prep break, let's get back to the garden. We haven't been very successful with our cabbages last couple of years, so Remy built this little nursery for them that will keep insects from eating them while they are still young and tender. Another thing that he did by this rainy afternoon was to try and start the irrigation system that pumps the water from the river into sprinklers that we use as backup in case of drought. We use a very old pump, which needs another smaller pump just to get started. Every year, making it work is kind of a struggle. After some little maintenance, let's try it out. Usually it never works at the first attempt. Wait, looks like it did this time. Oh, of course, it was too good to be true. Something snapped and the pump stopped. Fortunately, it was an easy fix and the whole thing was successfully set up for the season. Second try isn't bad at all. Now the only thing left to do was to secure the pipe at the bottom of the river, and we were good to go. Now we reach the end of this episode. Thank you again for spending 15 minutes of your time with us. We truly appreciate it. Now here's a snap behind the scenes of those weekly videos. Enjoy!
Qu'est-ce que tu fais?
C'est comme ça qu'on publie nos vidéos. On vient voler l'internet de notre ami Juliette. Mais là, il est pas levé.
Pipi.